How you doing, Miss Brooke McCauley? How you doing?
I am
Happy to
well.
have you on. This
Good
is our this is
afternoon.
our this is our pilot. So anything goes on the pilot, right? But I did want to introduce Miss Brooke McCauley. She's doing some great work in all that she's done, but more particularly right now, she's working very hard in the Howard County community with the Howard County Library System, and she's also part-timing with the NAACP. Is that two-timing or part-timing with NAACP? And she is the chair of our Women in the NAACP committee, and that's kind of it's a significant committee overall, but she's putting life into it for us and has a lot of programs that she's going to facilitate. And I just want to introduce her. She comes from a background of civil rights all the way. If you know anything about Detroit, they need all the civil rights they can get, and she's out of that spirit. But as you know, the folks in Detroit are from where? Where are your people from, Brooke?
I got people from Ohio, Kentucky, North Carolina, a little bit all
Yeah,
over the place. We up
that's the
south.
way it works. They call it. They got something up there. I used to have something called the Alabama Mafia. So so I mean I'm hip to it being an escape for people from the South. So I always connect that to the spirit because the spirit doesn't change as far as I'm concerned, regardless of where
Absolutely.
your location
Detroit
is.
is a spirited place for sure.
Exactly. And I've only been there twice in my life, and each time it's been something new. I mean, I was there for the NAACP convention a couple of years ago, and quite frankly, it was just like I was at home because all the people looked like people from Alabama. so, so, but I do
That
want to
sounds about
introduce
right.
Brooke. She comes out of the NAACP because she once worked as a staffer, and everybody doesn't have that distinction. There ain't a lot of people who work for the NAACP, and she made it and she survived, and she's continuing to do the work, and that's a good thing about her. And she still at every level has continued to do the work about this whole issue of social determinants. She worked with Maryland Hunger Solutions, and she also currently works with the Howard County Library System. But I want to introduce you so you can talk about the frame that your vision for women in the NAACP for for the state of Maryland, because there's a lot going on with women. Some stuff we celebrate, some things that we have to do better. But you have a platform to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Willie, and thank you. Hello, everyone who's out there watching us today.
The
So
pilot now,
one,
the pilot.
yes, for the pilot, yes. So the first key area that I am looking at is the whole piece around. It started out with the piece being concerned around the human trafficking, the sex trafficking pieces. Um, I first became aware of this as being a major issue, actually, with the kidnapping of the 200 young girls over in Nigeria several years ago. And then in doing my research after that, found out about how the 95 corridor and certain parts of America have, this basically the same issue going on where you have human trafficking and sex trafficking taking place. That was coupled with finding out how over the pandemic numbers around domestic abuse have skyrocketed. The numbers of women who are missing and wind up being murdered, those numbers have skyrocketed, particularly around the African American community, Latinx communities, and Native American communities as well. And so, wanting to really dig in and dive in around these issues, how can we get into preventative measures? Because a lot of times it's not the van pulling up and snatching someone off the street. A lot of times it's children who are, maybe meeting someone online, and more often it is an outcome of a horrible domestic violence situation that was not the proper support was not given before things went too far. So that is a major component of our platform, as well as women's voter empowerment. We've got a couple of key events coming up for Women's History Month, and one of them is on the 22nd. That's at 7 p.m. it's going to be exciting opportunity to interview the three women who are three African American women who will be featured as lieutenant governor candidates this year here in Maryland. That's the first time that's happened. We're looking forward to talking with them, hearing about their vision, learning a little bit about more who they are in this historic time for women, where we have a female as vice president of the country as well, and the first Black woman to be nominated as to be, hopefully will be confirmed as a Supreme Court justice. And then later on in the month, we also will have the national director for WIN, who is Dr. Thelma Daly, along with a woman who is highly known here in Maryland, in the Baltimore area in particular, Dr. Frances Draper, to come on. And we just want to really acknowledge our living legends. We want to give them their flowers while they are still here and learn more about them, learn about what their struggles have been. Dr. Draper and her family have owned the Afro historic paper since the late 1800s. And so we know how important it is to get real news and news that impacts our community. So we want to have those conversations as well. We're looking forward to those.
Well, I'm very impressed with your body of work. That's a lot right there alone. I want to connect the dots though, because you're a Black woman, right? And you also work for a Black woman in an industry that ain't got a lot of Black people running stuff, but it happens that your president of the library system in Howard County is an African American female, and it happens that the librarian of Congress is an African American female. So
That I did not know. Okay.
oh yeah, Dr. Carla Hayden is she left Baltimore. The only reason I know it is because she left Baltimore. She was in Baltimore for years, and President Obama appointed her as the librarian of Congress. And so connect the dots with that, because I mean, you know, it was encyclopedias for me, and then it was Ebony and Jet magazine, the green encyclopedias, Ebony and Jet, and then it was a library, you know. And in Alabama, it was the library, but it was kind of sanitized for Black folks. It was as far away from the Black community as possible. And then when we got in there, we act like we had some sense. You know, it wasn't fun. But you know, we went there and got books and had to take them back. But the library, as we know it, as we used to know it, even, as you know, it's changing. But it used to be a center of the community. How do you see that now, and how is it that, you know, what strategies are in place to expand it so it can be what it used to be, a source for information, a place where you can love words and books. How do you see that?
Well, thank you so much for raising that. So it's our new. She's not new anymore. I guess she's been here a few years now, but she is relatively new. Tonya Akins is really taking the library system to it's library system 2.0. One of our core strategies is getting out and doing more in terms of community engagement. That is part of how my role. I have a background in community organizing and nonprofit civil rights, hunger advocacy, these types of things. Tonya's vision was really to dive deeper into the community, establishing more community relationships. You know, our mission is community is education for all, and the for all is key. So making sure that folks who never thought about going back to the library, maybe they haven't been since children, or maybe in particular this is the case in Howard County, maybe the country they're from didn't even have libraries, or maybe there's not a low trust of government, period. So everything from the, you know, being able to borrow laptops and hotspots to the Brave Voices, Brave Choices, which is part of the overall racial equity work that we've been doing at the library system, to, you know, our teen program, which you can see in STEM and STEAM, and in particular, some libraries like the Eco Library, where, you know, you might in any given day see 50 kids after school connecting with the staff, getting help with their homework, and more importantly, just being a part of building community. The library system today really is, we really want to be that third place. That's the mantra we've been saying. It's that third place. If you're not at home, if you're not at work or at school, then we want you to come to the library. And in some cases, we're going to bring the library to you. Like we have our pop-up van where you can see in different places around the community where folks will come on site outside of a church or a mobile home park or different locations, do a class. You'll be able to borrow books. You can borrow a laptop and hotspot there, connect with the staff, have different types of resources at your fingertips. So we really are looking at holistic models for serving the community and really taking libraries to the next level.
Excellent.
We're a 5-star library. That's the
Me,
only library in the state that's a 5-star as well.
Well, you can also share with them about your connection with community during COVID and the outreach you've done there, because I understand you provided a lot of services in that regard, which is uncharacteristic for libraries to do. I don't know any other library system that was at the center of it the way that you were.
Right. Well, we were part of the local community organizations Active in Disaster, which consisted of several agencies, nonprofits, churches, who came together to collaboratively address needs in the community. We also had several like food pantries that opened up outside of the libraries where people could come and get food different days of the week, different days of the month. The laptops and hotspots initiative was one that we had talked about for some time, but once we really got into COVID and got to see the disparities, the income disparities, where if you weren't able to access Wi-Fi, then your whole world was cut off. Now the people could not go outside. And so, chances are you weren't able to connect with family and apply for benefits, apply for jobs, even show up for work if you did not have access. And so that was part of our identifying funding and launching that program as well. So those are some of the key things we offer. We also offered, we, like the rest of the world, had to figure out how to take Zoom, use Zoom, take it to the next level, provide the classes and other services that we typically offered and do it online. Again, trying to identify where those gaps were for folks that did not have the access. Did we freeze?